Welcome to the WiseTake DFS Podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. I'm joined here with D-Tech Nation, a.k.a. Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie DD. That is 8 Ds. Paulie, how we doing, brother?
Doing good, my man. How
awesome,
you?
Man. I'm good, man. I'm good. I had a obviously, I think it was like, when you include the weekend and the fact that the last show of last week and the first show of this week, I wasn't on. It felt weird. Like, you know, listen, you and Paulie. I mean, I'm sorry, you and Joe held it down for me, man. That was you guys did awesome. You were a whole different level of entertainment.
Yeah, Joey hijacked the show. But yeah, man, we missed you, dude.
Yeah,
we missed you.
I appreciate it, but clearly you guys did just fine with that, man. It was hysterical. I watched you guys and I had a blast, and I was hanging out in the chat last night too, man. It was fun, man. It was fun, and it's nice to see you guys let loose. I mean, realistically, if you're playing this game, I would assume that you're an adult. So it's like, I mean, unless you found a way to I don't know. I guess maybe FanDuel doesn't really verify. I don't know, but I would hope at least that if you're playing DFS, you're an adult.
Yep.
But Paulie, you've been on ever since I went away and I came back to Amish country, which I wasn't in Amish country, but I did hear it, and I'll acknowledge it. We'll just call it Amish country. Actually, I kind of was in Amish country.
Call it what it is, man.
Yeah, man. As I'm denying it, I'm thinking like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I saw a couple horse and buggies. I saw like mad farms. Like, I think I was in Amish country. But you have been on a heater, man.
Yeah, dude. It's been a lot of fun. We're sweating again tonight. The White Sox are making a comeback, though, which is kind of, getting in the way. But I'm sitting in sixth of the 530 single entry. And once that Yankees game's over, I'm the only guy with anyone. I got Samardzija going and Hunter Pence. And right now I'm about 36 points out of first and like 19 out of second, which would be 4,000. So as long as Samardzija doesn't fall apart, it's going to be a good night again.
All right, man. Don't sweat too hard, man. You got a light gray hat on, and it's nice. It'll come right through that hat, man.
Oh, I know. No, we keep it cool.
No. We always keep it cool. You've been do me a favor and tell the people the kind of contest that you're targeting here, because I think like you have your heater is not just your plays. Obviously it is your plays, but you're making the right plays in the right contests.
Yeah, so I'm staying with the very, very small field, high dollar, high stakes tournaments, and it's a bigger risk, obviously, because I'm in the $530 single entry. Thursday night, the first big win was a $1,500 like super slugger kind of thing in FanDuel. It was 35 people. So if you don't cash, those are big losses. Luckily, the 3 days I did do them, I've cashed. So now like the bankroll is juiced up, and I can actually afford one or two non-cashes. But the big difference is, the fields are so small that you don't have to navigate so much stuff. Like right now, if the Angels score runs, it doesn't even affect me. Whereas in the other field tournaments, everyone's got at least somebody, like there's no guys that are just 0%. And it's, it's just a different, like my scores wouldn't be doing too well in like the $44, so right now the team that's in sixth place of the 530 is in 480th of the $44. I'm cashing for $80. So it's just like you don't have to score as high, and it's paying off. And I think I'm gonna stick with this kind of strategy. And you can do it on a smaller scale. So I'm also in the $49 mini line drive. It's a $12 entry.
Yes.
And
Patio,
it pays one.
Yeah, man. Patio always preaches that one. Yeah.
Patio's in fourth, actually.
There you go, Patio.
So he's got a 161, and that's paying him $40. So that's like almost 4x. Whereas again, if you go to the 44 with that score, you're only getting 80, $90. It's just 2x. So, you got to find the tournaments with less players, and they usually have less rake as well, because there's not as many players to scoop from.
Right.
And, you just find yourself where you don't have to have such a blowout day, but as long as you do well, get the right pitcher and a bunch of offense, 150 to 200, you're cashing.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I've been doing the same similar thing. Obviously, not in the 530, but like you said, smaller entries, tournaments, smaller entries. Because I mean, realistically, dude, like it's like if you're gonna play the $3 with 50,000 people in it, like you're basically playing the lottery. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
like because I mean, like you're gonna put what? Even think about it, like even like if $30 into that contest, that's what 10 lineups, that's 10 entries. Like
Yeah.
there's so many guys in there putting in 150, maxing it out. So many
Oh
guys.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just
No,
like
you should always be playing single entries
yeah,
if you're not gonna be max entering, and if you're playing in those large field where the 150 is the max, if you're not entering at least 50 lineups, like you have such a small chance of getting to the top. It can happen. I've finished well in those over the 2 3 years I've been playing, but it's so rare, and you just end up losing money and having to constantly redeposit. And even the days that you do well, like you get a 250, but there's still seven guys that have better scores and you only get like $750, and it's like, you would have won any other of
yeah,
the field high stakes tournaments,
yeah,
for 20
absolutely.
grand, 30 grand. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Even in the higher dollar qualifiers, we see it, right? Like in the lower dollar ones, you'll see like a 250 won the contest, but when there's only
right.
like 1,000 or less, it'll be like a 180 or 202. It's like, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, definitely, man. So another thing that happened today, we kind of slid it. We didn't really tell anybody about it. We just kind of slid it in there. We're still working on the site. So we're starting to get things together, piece things together, and we all wrote an article today, which was dope, man. Everybody
Yeah.
like we wrote some plays, and people got to see firsthand, like after we do our research, like what guys we like. It was fun, man. It was fun.
Yeah.
So everybody be on the lookout. We're gonna be doing that still, just to kind of test out the site, and luckily for you guys get to get the advantage of getting to look at these articles. Guys like Paulie D and Patio Joe, right?
Yeah.
For
You
Gas
too,
Games
dude.
GPPs.
CK, man.
Oh,
You
oh,
you as
shucks.
well, dude. You touted the Yankees pitcher. You got the win. You got the quality start, bunch
Did
of
he?
Ks. Yeah,
I
yeah.
end,
You had
I,
the Rangers.
I
That
ended
was
I
contrarian.
I ended up going with Gio. I wrote up Gio and Montgomery, and
Yeah,
I only wrote one line. I ended up going with Gio. He did fine, but I stopped paying attention to Montgomery because I was like, well, I played Gio, so I had no idea.
Montgomery did awesome actually.
Did he?
7 innings, 8 Ks, one earned run.
What?
So that's 14, 28, 42, 52 points.
What? He
You
did
know?
better than
Yeah.
Gio. I should have played Montgomery.
Yeah. But both those guys, if you're a listener and you read the article and played them, you're happy today.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. Good point. It's
Yeah,
fun, man. It's
both those
exciting.
guys, both those guys were under 5% owned too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That I figured. Hey man, it's getting exciting. It's getting a lot. It's getting real. It's getting real.
It is getting.
It's getting real. And next week we're gonna try. We're gonna try doing some of these live shows earlier in the day. Maybe around 5 o'clock or so. We'll announce it after later in the week. But next week we're gonna try to step it up a little bit and really take it to the next level and see how things go. Right, Paul?
Yeah, so we're gonna have what, live chat before lock.
Live chat
Yeah.
before lock. Listeners will get to chat with us.
Yep.
And they'll get to see Paulie D, Patio Joe, myself, whoever it is on the show that day. They'll get to see what our takes are, in addition to the articles. Like, if you can't watch it, you'll have the articles. But if you could watch it, you'll get to talk to us right there, ask what we're on, ask questions, and it should be a good time, man. A nice little DFS hangout. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
Um,
what's good about that is, like, on the podcast, it's the night before, so much changes, weather, umpires, like, we're giving you our first impression, which is very rarely what you end up going with,
oh
the
yeah,
next day. So,
oh yeah,
there you'll get our actual, like, real takes that we're going, that we're putting in our lineups,
that's it. And then you see the work. Now we're gonna see how D-Tech gets himself on a heater. Now you're gonna
That's
get to
right.
see how Paulie D gets himself on a heater. So look forward to that. Make sure you're following the WiseTake Twitter at @wise_take for any announcements regarding those. Another thing is we're gonna try something new. We got a lot of these games, and we end up going game by game, and it's all good. But it's like I just feel like we all feel like we kind of just have some dead time, and we're just kind of wasting time. So we're gonna do something new. We're gonna go position by position. We're gonna talk about pitchers. We're gonna pitchers we like. We're gonna talk about pitchers we want to target. We're gonna talk about each position by position, and then maybe at the end, if we have some time, maybe we'll talk about some stacks we like. But obviously, you're going to want to make sure to check the site tomorrow to check out Paulie D, myself, and Patio's articles, which are released later in the day after we've done our research. So again, as Paulie said, these are our first impressions. These are just kind of like we're just basically looking at it, winging at it, letting you know what we're thinking. We're kind of thinking out loud as we look at this. Anyway, man, you ready to try this new format?
Yeah, see how it goes.
Let's do it. All right. So here we go. We're going to start off with pitcher here. We got Max Scherzer, Carlos Martinez, Jake Arrieta. It looks like on FanDuel anyway, that seems to be like Verlander. So, okay, we got a lot of guys in this price. So let's talk about Scherzer. He's obviously the top dog. He's $12K on FanDuel. I would imagine obviously he's probably even more expensive on DraftKings. So what are your thoughts on Scherzer? Let's just start with him.
I think it's a great spot for him. The Chicago Cubs are dangerous, but they really haven't been doing it. Gio held them down for most of the game, and Scherzer is just on a different level. So, I see the Vegas prop on him is 11 Ks. So that's a really good sign. So, he's definitely in play, definitely for cash games. And, he's probably like on a tier on his own, like if you were like rating players, he's probably like in the A group. And I don't know if anyone else really makes that cut. I think everyone else would be just below him. So, it's definitely a good spot for him. I will have some ownership.
Yeah, man, I definitely would have to agree with you. And you nailed it with the cash games thing. In cash games, man, don't try to get cute. Don't just don't do it. Just play Scherzer, and I'm sure you can find the bats to make it work. You don't want to mess around. We saw what Gio did to the Cubs. Now he is a lefty, but Scherzer, man, Scherzer strike anybody out. So I'm definitely with you on Scherzer. So on this next tier, right? The issue obviously is he's expensive. So if you're going with him, you're really gonna have to depend on the value. And if everybody's playing Scherzer and everybody's focusing in on one specific cheap stack or a couple of specific, like a Goodwin today. It was like 50% owned, right? 2.6 Nationals batting second. So those guys are going to be like 50 to 60%.
Austin too on the Yankees. He was 30% owned. He homered.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the guys that if you're playing, those guys are going to be popular. So anyway, yeah, I agree with you. Max Scherzer's obviously in play. If you have bats that you think you can make it work, you can do it, but like I feel like when you're messing with guys that cheap, they're cheap for a reason, right? So it's like you're dealing with a small like margin of error, right? Like you can't miss on too many of these guys. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. On a 15-game slate, there's probably going to be a few arms, and in this slate, I believe there are that can get you better point per dollar scores.
Yes.
But also there will be a lot of value bats that are available because of, every team's in play and a few of them have those spots, especially right now in the middle of the season. We get some call ups, like they're past that 2-month spot where, if he's a rookie, they don't have to like count the first year. So, anyone that's a top prospect is getting a shot now. You got some guys with injuries. So we do have a lot of, guys being called up that are cheap that are in play as well. But, I don't see like Scherzer being over 25% owned tomorrow. So, I'm fine with going like all in on him or fading him. Like either way, I think you just got to like take a stand and go one way or the other, be above the field.
No. You're absolutely right. See, here's my thing. I used to be the guy that always paid up for pitcher. And in cash games, I still do. I don't play cash that often anymore. But, or no, I shouldn't say that because I do. I just haven't lately. Obviously with the travel and the types of slates, I haven't really liked them for cash. But like in this situation, in cash games, I'm going with Scherzer. But in tournaments, for me, I have a harder time picking those value bets. It's much easier for me to just take a good team that I know is good offensively and just pay up for those guys in like a stack.
Yep.
It's just easier for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like pitching has always been my thing where I've had a hard time when I pay up for pitcher is trying to pick those cheap bats because they're cheap for a reason and it's almost like you get what you pay for.
Yep.
But then you always find those guys that figure out a way to get it done, and they have all these cheap 2K guys that hit home runs, and so it's like. Anyway, so this next tier. So I'm gonna group all these guys together because on FanDuel they all seem to be on like a similar tier, right? We got Carlos Martinez who was on the higher end at 9.7 at Arizona. We got Jake Arrieta at Washington at 9.4, Verlander at 9.3. It looks like he's home against Kansas City. And then we got Severino at 9.2. So those are all the guys in that 9. I kind of group them
Yeah.
together. Any of these
Yep.
guys stand out to you?
Severino, I like a lot in this spot. Um, he has K upside. We know the White Sox struggle versus righties. And, Severino's really looked good lately. And, when he's on, if he's got a good umpire as well, that where he, doesn't have to get swings and misses, where he'll get the calls on the corners, he'll be a good option tomorrow. Arrieta, I think, will show up too. This is kind of like a rivalry. We got the Cubs and Nationals. There's a shot they'll see each other in the playoffs. He's going against Max Scherzer, so I don't hate that, but I think your odds of getting the win are low. And at 9.4, he might be just a little too expensive to go that route. But I expect him to have a good game. And Carlos Martinez in Arizona, I don't hate either. Um, Arizona's a little banged up. We've seen some real ugly lineups from them.
Death Squad.
The Death Squad lineups, like they've taken the Death Squad lineup and like doubled down on it. And it's just like worse now,
Yeah.
So if we see something like that, Carlos Martinez is fine because he's capable of striking out 10, 11 guys.
Oh, yeah.
And Zona does strike out, so I know it's a good ballpark, and if the roof's open, I would like it a little less, but I doubt it 'cause it's super hot in Arizona. And I don't think they're going to open it. It was closed all weekend at like 108-degree weather. So Martinez is in play too. Verlander, I'm not as interested in. There might be some rain in that game, and he just hasn't looked great this year. I'm not looking to pay 9.3 for him.
Yeah. I'm with you on Verlander. I'm definitely not interested in. I like Severino a lot, man. Now my issue, it's like obviously Severino is 9.2. He's got 2 games in a row where he didn't do all that great. Now he gets the White Sox, who, despite the fact that I just found out from you that Montgomery shut them down for the most part today, they've been red hot and they've been mashing righties lately. And I think it could stop here. Severino, over the last couple of years, he's played better on the road, which I don't expect that to really hold up in this situation because of the fact that it's still a hitter's ballpark, so it's similar to the Yankee Stadium as far, not similar as far as dimensions, but similar as, you know what I'm talking about. They're both hitter's park.
Yeah.
But I love Severino at 9.2. He's got very good K upside, as you said. We know the White Sox can strike out. We saw them strike out today against Montgomery, and yeah, man, I think he's 9.2. He's obviously he's way cheaper than Max Scherzer. So
Earlier this year, he faced the White Sox at home, went 8 innings, 10 Ks.
Oh yeah.
Only 3 hits. He put up 49 FanDuel points, and the K upside is there. Like that performance right there would be more valuable than most likely what Scherzer's going to do. Even if Scherzer puts up like a 65 with the cost differential, Severino probably pays off because you're getting better bats.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly my point. I get better bats. That's why I don't think I'm playing Scherzer. And like, dude, like the last freaking time, I mean, the last like I don't know how many, like couple times Scherzer's gone, I haven't played him, and he's put up like 60, 70, and I haven't played him. I don't like being forced to like play these ugly like 2K guys. Like I'll play one or two of them, and in cash games I don't mind, but like in tournaments, no, man, I want to take those dudes that are like 4K and like 4.2K on FanDuel that like nobody else can afford. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so let's see who we got next. Here we go. Oh, okay. Even this next tier is interesting. We got James Paxton at home against Philly. Jose Quintana, obviously he's against the Yankees at home. Kenta Maeda, he's 8.4 on FanDuel. He's hosting the Angels. Alex Cobb at Pittsburgh at 8.3. Mike Fears at 8.3. So, oh my gosh, there's like so many guys in this 8K range on FanDuel. It's like ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Any of these guys stand out to you?
It's Paxton, Quintana, Maeda, Cobb. Is that the list?
We're gonna
And
have
Fires.
to just break it up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with there and end with Cobb.
And with Cobb. All right. Paxton definitely have interest at home against Philly. They struggle against lefties. He's got K upside. Quintana definitely not against the Yankees. He doesn't have the K upside, and he's been pitching more to contact. He usually navigates the games. Like I don't expect him to get rocked, but the Yankees do hit lefties really well. I mean Judge and Sanchez. It's just they're batting next to each other now in the lineup. There was like 3 times in the game where they both walked. And the guy Austin behind them came up with 2 on. So like they could get to Quintana, but I wouldn't go there at this price point. There's just better options all around them. Kenta Maeda is interesting, but I just he doesn't do it for me. I don't think he's gonna get enough innings, and Los Angeles doesn't strike out. And Alex Cobb on the road against Pittsburgh, I could see them just like singling him to death. Mike Fiers, that interests me a little bit, but I mean, like at 8-3, there's guys below that I like better, and Severino's close enough, or Paxton at 8-5. Like Paxton's really the only guy out of that list that I really have interest in.
All right. I got a guy. So we can sit here and talk about Taiwan Walker, Pomeranz. We can talk about them if you like them, but the guy that I want to ask you about right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that you might like this guy,
Okay.
Sean Newcomb,
Yes,
7-7 at the Padres. Am I
absolutely.
right? Am I right?
Oh, that's a great spot tomorrow. That
I
that
knew
is a
Polly
great
would like
spot
it.
tomorrow.
I knew
Yeah,
Polly would like this spot.
this kid's the real deal. He's got nasty, nasty stuff. He's probably going to strike out 10 guys tomorrow. Let's take a look at his logs real quick. How
Yeah.
long have they been letting him go? He's gone 6 innings, all 3 of his first starts. One against the Mets, Miami, San Fran. All those were at home.
Yeah.
And he pitched pretty well. He gave up no earned runs, 3 and 1
Yeah,
in
in a
Atlanta
shitty
Park.
pitcher's park. Yeah.
Yeah, and all those 3 teams are like the hardest to strike out as well. He struck out 7,
Yeah.
3, and 3, and now he gets this just dream matchup against the Padres, and I am very interested in Sean Newcomb tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I figured that, and I feel the same way, man. I love him. I love him on FanDuel. That's the way I always talk about my style of tournaments. Like I always talk about, I try to just do a different build. I'm not even concerned about the players that are chalk. I'm just about like I'm all about the build.
Uh
So yeah,
huh.
man, a guy like Newcomb, if everybody else is paying up and I can play a guy like Newcomb, and if the lineup's right and we get him at 7-7, we can load up on some of these bats that nobody else can afford. Maybe play some of those Yankees that everybody loves to play because this time nobody's gonna afford them. If they're paying up a pitcher, they can't afford
Yep.
everybody.
Yep. Like sharp money will definitely be on this kid tomorrow
Yeah,
because of the price and the stadium.
yeah,
So like in the higher dollar contest, he's going to be higher owned. In the lower dollar or larger fields, you may get him like a little bit less, but he's going to get like 10 to 15% ownership, I think.
yeah.
There are a lot of ways to go, so maybe it'll stay closer to 10, but he's not like a secret. People know this kid's the real deal,
Right.
and it's the Padres.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. Listen, he's not a secret, but I still think that people are going to prefer to pay up for the security. Like they're
Yep.
going to look for like the Paxton. I think Paxton is somebody who'll be pretty, like if people want to pay down, I think Paxton is probably the furthest down I could see people really going.
Yep.
Like 8,500 against Philly at home. That's like the lowest that I see people being comfortable at. Like all right. So let me ask you: are there any pitchers that I didn't cover just yet that are cheaper, more expensive, whatever, that are stand out to you as far as playing them? Because in a minute we're gonna flip it here and talk about some of these guys who want to attack.
Yeah. We just passed, I believe. What?
But
I
Chacin, Straley, Walker,
Yeah,
Pomerantz.
Straley, I think it could be in play at
Yeah.
home. He's looked good sometimes this year, and
Oh yeah, yes.
in the big ballpark, he's a reverse splits guy. So like the Mets with the big lefty lineup, he will do well against that. Where usually we like to target righties. So DK SP2 for sure. He's in play there. Yuli Chassin too, on DK as an SP2. He does really well at home. His splits are really, really like great at home, horrible on the road. And Atlanta, Matt Kemp got hurt. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup. If he's out, that lineup is a ton less threatening, and he's fine for SP2. I think that's really it at this level. Aaron Nola's fine as well, but I think there's just better options. And as we scroll down, yeah, that's it. That's really like he's probably those two guys are like the bottom of the list for me, as low as I would go.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a good call on Straley. Um, well, I will say one thing though. As I went, well, obviously we'll go position by position with the hitters too, but I think it's a very good spot as a one-off spot for like Cespedes, man. I think I could
Yeah.
definitely see that being like a good one-off spot for that guy. But
Yep.
other than that, that's a great point about Straley, man. He's 8-1. He's got the Mets. It's not like people aren't dying to go there, but he's been getting it done. I've been playing Straley a lot, man, especially at home. He's been getting it done, man. He's doing well. He's having a legit year.
Yeah, and you know you're gonna get him at like super low ownership,
Oh
so
yeah,
he's if he has one of his ceiling games, which in his last five he's had a 53 and a 57,
right.
and he's had 61 earlier in the year, like that's tournament winning type scores.
Oh hell yeah.
The Mets don't strike out, and I think their bats are coming around, so it's not my favorite spot, but
Right, yeah.
SP2 on DK for sure. Probably not too much exposure on FanDuel.
Right, yeah. I 100% agree. He's not really like, as me, a guy that typically plays one lineup and like a bunch of different tournaments. He's not gonna be my guy on this kind of slate. Like he's just not. But like you said on
Hmm.
DraftKings as like an SP2 option, even in like if he's cheap enough on DraftKings in like a cash game setting, if you pair him with Scherzer, yeah, man,
Yeah.
I think that I could totally see it. All right, so let's talk about some of the guys that we want to attack here. What are
Okay.
some of the guys we want to that we want to just like beat up? We got the Gas Can, who's been playing better, but he's on the road. He's on the road. We
Yeah.
got Jesse Chavez. Like, tell me, man.
Yeah. Jesse Chavez for sure. I wrote down six guys that I want to target tomorrow. I'm going to start at the top. So Sean Manaea. This is probably a very contrarian take. He pitched very well against Houston last week, and I just don't see that happening again. This time it's in Houston, and they do hit righties very well, and they got hot over the weekend, and I think that seeing this kid a second time around this close together, that they're going to get to him and pour on the runs in this spot. So he's like my most expensive pitcher that I'm going to be targeting, and I think that'll be very contrarian, taking some Houston bats. Next is Junior Guerra. He's going into Cincinnati, a tough ballpark. Cincinnati's got a bunch of lefty bats that can get to him. I really like Joey Votto in this spot. Scooter Gannett's been on fire. He's probably going to be batting second. I think Junior Guerra gets beat up. Jesse Chavez, I think he definitely gets beat up tomorrow, facing the Dodgers, who've been red hot. And tonight you saw the Dodgers struggle against Nolasco, but Nolasco is a heavy slider pitcher, and that's the one pitch that the Dodgers kind of struggle against if you look at their hitting profiles. But Chavez throws mostly fastball, changeup, and a little bit of curve, so the Dodgers should get back to their hitting ways tomorrow against him. And Taiwan Walker's another guy that I think we can target. St. Louis bats are really heating up, and they're going to be in Arizona. Um, Matt Carpenter is in a great spot here, and I like that team right now. They put up a bunch of runs today with a bunch of home runs, and I think that can continue. And I have Tyson Ross as well. We saw that Cleveland game today. It was like 14-9 final. These guys, they're not division rivals, but they played in the playoffs the last season, and I just don't believe in this kid Tyson Ross, and I think Cleveland will definitely get to him as well. Those are like my six guys.
Yeah, man, I love that last one, Tyson Ross. Not so much for him. I have nothing against him, even though, and don't get me wrong, I don't think he's very good, but it's more so we saw today, man. Their bullpen is terrible. Texas's
Yeah,
bullpen is
yeah. And now it's
absolutely horrible,
taxed,
man.
and now it's taxed.
Yeah. I love that. I love that call for sure. Jesse Chavez, man, has terrible road splits. He hasn't been getting mashed as hard, but his hard contact rate is up there. It's only a matter of time, man. It's gonna have like, and like he hasn't been good. Don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been getting mashed as bad as he probably should have.
Yep.
But the Dodgers, man, that's a whole different train that you don't want to run into
Yeah.
right now.
That's like the hottest team in
Yeah,
baseball, and
man.
they've got lefty
Yeah.
mashers, so
Uh,
that's not a good spot for him.
what do you think? I know it's a bad ballpark for hitting, but what about Matt Cain?
Matt Cain, I have interest in targeting him, but the ballpark number one, number two, the Rockies really only have like two lefties going right now. I don't
Right.
know what's the deal with Carlos Gonzalez, but he wasn't in the lineup tonight against Samardzija, and
Marja.
he's got great BVP. Like he might be a little dinged up. So we saw Blackman and Tapia and Walters, the only three lefties. And Kane's like the guy who's blow up prone, but usually doesn't get blown up as much as like you'd hope that he would if you stacked against him. And in that ballpark, it's just like you're taking a low percentage play in taking a lot of bats there. But I like a Nolan Arenado one off or like a Arenado Blackman Mark Reynolds stack, like a 2 or 3 man Colorado stack, definitely, because he does give up runs almost every start. It's just, I don't know if the blow up potential is there in this stadium.
Yeah, I know you're absolutely right. Low potential, and the fact that the Giants bullpen, while it's not great, it's not terrible either. So it's like it's kind of like you just want to target giant pitchers on the road, really. You just like
Yeah.
don't even want to mess with them in that ballpark because they have too many things like going in their favor. Good point. Anything else to say on any of these pitchers, or should we go on to some of these? Let's move on to these other positions here.
Yeah, we can move on.
All right. Let's talk about the position that I personally hate rostering this position because there's very few to pick from, and sometimes you have to play ugly. Let's talk about catchers. Gary Sanchez, 3.9 headlines on FanDuel as the most
hmm
expensive catcher. What catchers you like here, man?
I mean, I love Gary Sanchez, but the ownership on him has just been like ridiculous lately. And against the lefty, I expect it to be the same. And
But do you think people will be able to afford him if they're playing like Scherzer?
like I don't see Scherzer getting over 25%. So like yeah, most of the Scherzer lineups won't have him, but there's still going to be 75% of the field that most likely will be able to afford him if they want him. So
Yeah.
I like him, but I probably won't go there.
Right.
I
Right.
think I tend to go for value at the catcher position as well, and 4K for the catcher is just rough. Like
No, no, no. Yeah.
he's got to put up like 25 to really make it worth it.
Yeah, no, totally. It makes a lot of sense. And also when you consider the fact that there's so many games. Like there's not anybody you have to play. There's like
No,
right? Like there's
no.
just so many games. All right, so tell me some of the catchers that you're interested in.
Um, so Grandal in that, against Jesse Chavez, I like
Oh
that
yeah, two
matchup.
nine on FanDuel. Huh?
Yeah, it's a good price, and he's been heating up. He had like 3 homers over the weekend or Friday, Saturday, so he's finally coming around. He was really kind of struggling most of the year, and he is a professional hitter, so like, the progression should continue. And next guy I like is Herman on Arizona. He batted leadoff today. If he's in that same spot, then you gotta like that against Nola. So it's good lefty righty matchup. And at the top of the order, you should get 4 at bats at least. And the price tag like 2,300, so he'll probably be popular. And I don't mind it.
Yeah, man.
Next, do you agree?
Yeah. No, no, no. I wasn't trying to stop you. I was just agreeing with you. I wanted to make sure you know I was listening.
All right.
Keep going, brother.
Next spot I like is Robinson Chirinos if he's in the lineup for Texas. Again, we just saw, that game, turn into a shootout, and I expect the same. And Chirinos has massive power, and I like him in this spot. Hopefully, he gets a decent slot in the order. And Mike Clevenger gives up a lot of fly balls, so he at 2,900, I believe, or 2,700 is a good price, and a guy that could potentially hit one out of the park. And the last two guys on my list are probably going to be very contrarian, but Caleb Joseph at 2,300 on Baltimore. I really like Baltimore tomorrow, and he's been playing lately and he's been hitting, and he put up 31 points on Sunday, and I think they're going to go back to him, and he's just cheap, and I'm going to have Baltimore stack, so he's like another guy to add into it at a low cost. And then, as I mentioned, I like targeting Guerra, so Tucker Barnhart at 2,500 for the Reds. He usually bats about seventh, and I just like him if I'm gonna go with like a full stack of 4 Reds. He'll be in there. I'll probably have like some Schebler, Scooter, Votto, and Tucker. Like one cheaper option to make it kind of work.
Yeah, for sure. I got a guy for you. If you're looking to pay down, how
Okay.
about some James McCann, 2.4 against Matthew Stram? I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. The kid's not. I don't think the kid's that bad, but he's a lefty. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
McCann hit some tough lefties, man.
Yep.
5.2 run projection. Just saying.
Definitely. That's definitely a good option. Absolutely.
Let's see. Yeah, man. For me, like, what's interesting is I Russell Martin, man. Like we always talk about, how when the order gets shifted around, some guys just kind of
Mm-hmm.
run with it, and like Russell Martin's kind of doing that. They've been batting him second, and he's been kind of like doing his thing a little bit. What do you think about him? He's like 2.8, so like you'd like to see him cheaper, considering that it's not like he's been like red hot for like 2 weeks now. But he's 2.8 against the gas can. I feel like people like have been giving Gausman a little too much credit. I've been hearing a lot of people saying like, oh, he's been doing all, like he's still, if you look at his game logs, like he's still eventually he's giving up the runs. Like maybe the first few innings he's getting by, but eventually he's giving up those runs, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like thinking Gausman's going to improve, but
Right.
Martin could take him deep for sure, and it's in Toronto, home park. It's good for right-handed batters. If he's batting second again, absolutely for
Yeah.
2,800.
Yeah, definitely. Only if he's bad. Otherwise, you have to do a full stack. But all right, let's move on to first base here, man. Oh wow, yeah. We got Goldschmidt, we got Bellinger, Joey Votto finally back home in Cincinnati. They've been on a seriously long road trip, and I love that Cincinnati ballpark, man. I love that Cincinnati. I'm so happy that they're back home. um, who stands out to you at first base here?
Um, Obviously Bellinger. He's just been killing the ball. I like him, and I mentioned I like Joey Votto. Um, Logan Morrison, I think, is in a good spot, and he very rarely gets a lot of ownership, so he's interesting to me. And Tyler Austin of the Yankees, he's going to be like my low cost option. If he's facing a lefty, he hit a home run today.
Mhm.
I mentioned he's batting like right after Judge and Sanchez, so he's going to have runners on base. That's like a great guy to make the Scherzer lineup work. And there's a ton of names at first base. I could keep going. Those are like my favorite 4.
Yeah. Like you said, there's so much to like. I'm very curious to see how Tampa Bay does against the
Mm-hmm.
Pirates, because they got Trevor Williams, who's obviously he doesn't scare you at all. And like I'm looking at like Logan Morrison, for instance, right now, and it's just like I feel like the Rays could go just completely unknown. Like they've been pretty popular for the most part, but I feel like they can just go completely under the radar. They're still projected for 4.5 runs, which isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
But people hate playing in this ballpark. People hate playing players in this ballpark. But my point is the Rays play in a pitcher's park too, and they still hit home runs. So like, do you think that like Logan Morrison or something, he's got to be able to jack one out in Pittsburgh?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah,
I think
you
he
can
could
jack
even
him
hit.
anywhere.
Yeah. So it's like I think Logan Morrison is interesting. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mentioned Logan Morrison. I
Oh.
guess you weren't listening.
All right, you caught me that time. You caught me that
It's all
time.
good. It's all
You
good, man.
definitely did. All right, you did mention
It's
Logan
all good.
Morrison. All right, well, all right.
But yeah, we're on the same page.
We're on the
So
same page. There
yeah,
you go.
he's interesting.
This format is like I'm clicking back and forth on screens, and then I'm
Yeah,
like
it's
answering
tough.
you
It's
like
tough.
3 seconds late.
Yep.
Because I'm like, wait a minute,
It's tough.
what do you say? Just
And first base, there's literally so many good options here.
yeah, man.
Like there's just a ton. Justin Smoke, Kendrys Morales, either one of
So
those.
you know what,
You know.
man? Like I don't think position by position is like let's just do this. Let's just talk about some of the stacks we like. Like because that's where it's at with tournaments, right? Like I mean, obviously, like the one-offs are great. We could mention the one-offs that we may like because we already talked about some of the pitchers we want to attack. We talked about some of the pitchers we like. We
Yep.
talked about some catchers, some first basemen, but really what it comes down to, I think, especially for like when we're playing tournaments and like we're really looking for that main stack, right?
Yeah, I'm with that. That's fine with me.
let's do it, man. Let's do it. Because I don't want to sit here and I'm putting you on the spot. Like, go tell me on the second baseman right now. And, like, you're doing good, but then, like, obviously, I'm getting distracted going back and forth with these screens. So let's just talk about some of the offenses, like, man.
That's cool. That's fine with me. You want to tell me one you like, or you want me to start?
I think I mentioned the Rays. I think the Rays are sneaky.
Okay.
I think
Who are they
Toronto.
facing?
The
Who's
Trevor Williams.
Trevor
The Rays
Williams
are
in Pittsburgh?
facing Trevor Williams in Pittsburgh, right?
Hmm?
I think they're sneaky. I think Toronto is interesting. I don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't. Last year I was a big Gaussman believer, and he had a couple
Hmm?
games where he showed you like he's supposed to be really good. He's supposed to be like they have a lot vested in this kid. Like as far as like they were expecting what they were expecting, high expectations is what I'm about to
Right.
say. But I'm sitting there. Toronto's home, like you said, 5.7 projected run total. I mean, projected runs, and I just think it's another. I don't know. That's a lot of runs, man. I think Detroit's interesting. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but even the Marlins, man, I think they're pretty interesting against the Gentlemen. And like I think you're on the same page. Oh no, you like Australia on that. Never mind. I thought you
Yeah.
liked the Bats. We didn't talk about that. So who do you like?
I like the Reds. I think you
Oh
do as
yeah,
well.
the
You
Reds.
know,
Yes, good one,
the
man.
Reds
Good
against
one.
Guerra in Cincinnati is definitely a good spot. I mentioned I like Houston against Mania. I think that's like my contrarian stack tomorrow. It's
Yeah,
a late game. You're gonna get that at super low ownership, and they've got a ton of power. Like Springer, Correa, Altuve, even Gaddis. Like any of those guys are fine. Marisnik is a cheap, sneaky option, batting ninth. He's been hitting well, so like I really like that spot. I like Baltimore. You mentioned Toronto, so that game might be a game we need to bet the over on
Oh yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
Baltimore finally is getting hot. Like they had a couple games over the weekend where they scored multiple runs, and this is a good spot for them. Biagini is a good pitcher and he's gonna do well, but I think he's running into a team that's getting hot, and
Yeah.
like Machado and Adam Jones and Scope and Seth Smith is just a good spot for them. And like I was like, is this really gonna go the whole season with Baltimore? Like just like they were just struggling so much, and they're really just too good, and they got a great coach and a ton of talent. So I think this is a tough spot for Genie, and I like Baltimore, and I don't think they're going to be popular. So I think they're a team you can stack, and they have a lot of power upside. So like they can get you a ton of points when they go off altogether. So I really like that spot. And lastly, I have Texas written down here. I do not think Bellen, not
Clevenger.
Bellinger, Clevenger is anything to fear, and Texas is just red hot. Adrian Beltre, Nomar Mazara, Shinsu Chu, whoever they play a catcher, they put up runs in Yankee Stadium over the weekend, and they put up 9 today against Carrasco. So I think that continues. I like them as well.
Yeah. No, I definitely I'm with you on all those teams. There's one game that we didn't really touch on for bats. Well, you may have. You may have during that brief period I wasn't paying attention. But did we talk about, or did you talk about the Twins and Red Sox game at all?
No, no, I didn't talk about that one at all. So we got
That's a high total there, and I did the same thing. I just now looked over it like, oh wait a minute, I don't think either of us mentioned anybody from this. And
and
like with a high
Hector
total game, you have to have a
Santiago.
take.
Sorry, man.
Go for it.
No, Hector Santiago, he gives up the long ball, and we saw Boston get to Berrios today. I mean, they didn't punish him, but they batted him around, got him, a ton of hits today. And it's another team I think that's coming around at the right time, and they could definitely get to Hector Santiago. And you don't have to play the splits game. You can play lefties against Santiago. He gives it up to both sides. Pomerantz, he's interesting, but I don't like him against the righty heavy Twins. So yeah, either side is interesting. Brian Dozier would probably be a great play here against Drew Pomerantz. He's about 3,500. That's not too expensive. And the Twins have been hot as well. So yeah, what would you say the run line was? What, 10 and a half? I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think it's about ten
Yep.
and a half. Yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
it's a lot of runs, man. And the thing is, like, you know what I wonder? Like, obviously, Pomerantz is like, don't get me wrong, I think he's pretty good. I think he's talented, right? And he's got decent K upside and all that. But I wonder if it's like after seeing like a full game of Chris Sale, right?
hmm
Like now you're seeing a mini Chris Sale. Is it like going like you get what I'm trying to say here? Like, do you think it's any easier for them? Because it's like you just went from like super hard and now you're going down to like medium. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you think there's a
you
thing to
know,
that?
I guess, because they're very, very similar pitches. That they throw the same kind of pitches, and Pomerantz
And
is
one
a
is just a
little
little
bit
better than
slower.
the other,
Right,
right?
right. So yeah, so maybe it's like, you know, there's like a comparison to that. But like if you're in the batting cages and you go to like the 60 and then step down to the 50, like you
Yeah,
feel it's a lot easier. So
yeah.
yeah, I think there is something to that. I'm with that.
So like that makes me interested in the Twins a little more.
Yeah,
And
10-mile-per-hour wind
oh
blowing out as
yeah,
well,
oh
and
yeah,
humid, and it's humid.
oh yeah, man. I think
It's
I
probably a
found
good spot.
it's probably a good
Yeah.
game stack spot because like you said, Santiago, man, he's terrible. So it's like you get that, and then you get the Twins bullpen, of course. That could be a good game stack. It's hard to do a game stack on this kind of slate because there's so many games and there's so many like decent spots, right?
Yeah, no, like I have been staying away from like the 4-4 stacks, and
Right.
especially on the large slates. Like I'm a much bigger fan of like 3-3-2 or 2-2-2-2-2,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and on the smaller slates, like 7 games or less, I'm more into like the all-in stack because sometimes there's only one or two teams that actually do go off. So yeah, for sure, I would stay away from the full stack. I just think like you're never gonna get the max points from like four guys in one game unless they score 20 runs. Like, you're gonna have like maybe two guys you get right, and the other two are gonna get you like nines and sixes, and that's just not enough in large field tourneys.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. Like, I love stacks because I'll almost always have that one core stack of like 3 to 4 guys that I'm like, yeah, like these are but like other than that, like you said, it's either twos. I'll pair them up with some twos, or I'll pair them up with like even some one offs, or
One offs, yeah,
yeah, like very rarely do I do like a full 4-and-4. It's like you said, unless it's a smaller slate and like I really like the game. Like today on today's slate, you could have done a 4-and-4 with the Rangers and Indians game and like
yeah.
it would have been fun. But there's only
You'd be
six
very
games.
happy.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yep,
you'd be very happy. But there's only 6 games, so it's like you can make it work. So many things that ain't gonna work. You're gonna need
no,
to get creative, and that's why we have things like the WiseTake model at wisetake.com. Like that plug there.
yep, very good.
All right, Paulie, man, this was a lot of fun. You know what? Like, I like this because it's a little more loose. Like, we kind of just go and then we kind of just like finish when we think we're done. It's like,
Yeah,
rather than like, all right, well, that's the last game. It's like, all right, yeah. So I think we covered pretty much everything we need to cover. We even found a sneaky stack that I think we were both kind of overlooking, and maybe we have a little more interest now in that game. So at least more research
yeah,
there.
for
I mean, you
sure.
were
I'm
on the
right.
Red Sox side for sure. You were all over the Red Sox side. I was just talking about the Twins,
Twins.
but yeah, man, this was cool. This was different. We're gonna have to get used to it. We gotta get used to it. But
Yeah, we'll see what kind of feedback we get from the listeners.
yes, that's what we want to
And
hear.
whatever the listeners want is what we'll do. But
Yes.
the 15-game slate's tough to get through in an hour, and we probably end up neglecting some of the better spots. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how this goes. We can prepare a little better for the next one, and on the large slates, it's just hard. There's so many good spots,
Yeah.
especially on offense tomorrow. This is a good tournament slate tomorrow,
Yeah.
and we'll see Wednesday and Thursday. They're going to be a little bit smaller. We'll see how that goes,
Yeah.
but whatever the listeners say, whatever feedback we'll get, we'll try and make everyone happy.
Couldn't have said it better, guys. So let us know. Leave us some comments. Let us know if you like this format, or if you really, really want us to do the game by game. Because if you really want it, if you really, really, really want it, then we'll consider it. But we may not do it. But anyway, man, let's play some Dog Watch.
All right.
So Joe had some. He's a creative dude, man. Like I'm like obviously boring as hell, and I'm just like, yeah, let's just pick guys, no cores, and like
Yep.
no, I didn't. Joe is like Mr. He's got the imagination, and he's got like he's got a whole different personality, a whole different name for that personality. It's just like what I mean, like let's try to do this. We'll pick one. The first round has to be a pick from a team that is home because you're taking a chance at losing that last at bat. Taking a home team. The second pick, you get to pick an away team, right?
Okay.
And then the third pick has to be a guy 2,500 or less on FanDuel.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Cool?
Yep.
That's the best I
So
can do,
who's going
Joe.
first?
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm not like Patio Joe. I tried. But I can't just think of these, awesome ideas right at the. You go ahead and go. You go. I can't even talk. Go ahead. You go ahead and go first.
All right. So it's got to be a home team. I'm gonna go with George Springer, leadoff dong off Manaea, setting the tone for the Houston Astros.
That worked out great for you. I said home team, and one of your
Yep.
favorite stacks the whole time was Houston. That worked out wonderfully. All right, give me some Joey Votto back home. I'm gonna go with some Joey Votto. And you know what? We won't even do the snake. We'll just go back to the regular format. So we'll go since it's the
All
rules.
right.
So now you pick one away.
So I need an away. I'm gonna go with Dozier in that Minnesota spot that we just discovered. I think that's a great spot for him.
I love it, man. I had my eyes on Sanu the whole time, man. So I'm loving that. I'm loving that one. I'll go with Sanu. You go with Dozier.
Cool.
All right, let's
and would you
pick
say
it.
somebody under 2,500?
Yes, gotta find some punts here.
FanDuel. Make sure that these guys are under.
Oh, there's an easy one. This is an easy one.
Yeah, all right. I probably won't grab it, but I will try. Let's see. All right, FanDuel. 2,500
or less.
Or less. All right. Let's see. All right. Oh, I like him.
I know it's like when there's this many games, it's not so easy to find to find anything.
No.
There's just so much to think about. How long you have to scroll just to get down to that area. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I know. You know what? I'm gonna go with the guy you recommended earlier, actually, and say James McCann.
oh man, okay, that was a good one. I forgot about him actually, so I wouldn't even pick them. But I'm talking about I'm giving you a chance to homer out a little bit. Tyler Austin, man.
Tyler Austin,
man. I mean, New York Yankees.
I was thinking that it was just like too easy, and
he was chalk today, but he hit one. Man.
Yeah, like I know he's gonna be chalk tomorrow, so I have to fade him, and it's like I don't want him to homer. His homer tonight actually like really stung. If he didn't hit that, I'd probably be like in second place already. Ooh. So he was 34% owned in like a 30-man tournament.
Dude, that's the thing with DFS, man. You now have a personal vendetta with this one guy on your team, this like rookie guy who's supposed to be good. You're now gonna be mad at him for at least like a couple of days, dude.
I am mad at him a little bit.
He like refused to play him in a game where it made sense. He's a Yankee fan. It made sense. He's 2K. He's batting fifth. He had a home run today, and he just refused. Paulie just refused to like play him in the dong watch. Just like no, I'm just gonna ignore that guy.
Bitter.
I'm with it, man. Also, guys, don't forget, we're gonna be writing these articles. We're gonna try to get them out every day. We're still working out the schedules for that. So the only way to know if we posted an article is to either follow the Twitter at wise_take or to actually go to wisetake.com and see what we have posted up there. But be on the lookout. Paulie, myself, and Joe will be writing articles for tomorrow's slate. So Joe's going to be covering the cash games. Paulie's going to be covering the GPPs. And I'm pretty much just kind of playing, letting you know some of I play one lineup typically, so I'm letting you know some of the guys in my pool that I'm considering, just stacks and pitchers. So between the three of us, we want to see some screenshots when you win some money. We're not asking you for anything. If you take down a couple of G's in your GPPs, we're not asking you for a percentage of that, but we are asking for you to shout us out and put us in some screenshots, right, Paulie?
Yeah, definitely. Love screenshots.
We love screenshots. If you want to see some cool screenshots, check out the WiseTake Twitter because recently I posted a few of Paulie's recent wins. If you like winning screenshots, check out the WiseTake Twitter. Scroll down the timeline and take a look at Paulie's hot streak. And hopefully it's not over yet. Hopefully we'll have some stuff.
I'll have another one
on.
for you tonight.
I'm with it. We're gonna make a little collage for you, Paulie.
Nice.
Anyway, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that like button. That thumbs up means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Podbean, the audio-only version, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, leave us some positive 5-star reviews. Bump us up those charts. It means a lot. And of course, like I said, the website is under construction, but it is up so that we can show you some of the stuff that we're trying to do, and it gives us a chance to kind of test everything out. So, for now, enjoy it while it's up there. We got the articles, and we have a lot of exciting things. That's pretty much. So, anything you want to say there, Paulie?
No, that's it. Check out the site. I think there's good content going up. Most stuff that was written tonight would have helped you guys do well, and a lot of good things to come. Check out the WiseTake. We're on the move.
There it is, on the move, digging it. All right, guys, thanks for watching and listening, whichever you're doing as always. And for Paulie, for myself, as always,